All right, let's go ahead and get started. Good morning. We are so glad that everybody could join us today. Hope that you are getting the salt washed off of your cars and trucks and vans with the rain that we're going to have over the next 4 days. But excited to kick off our 2024 SHRM meetings with an exciting speaker today. We've got a couple of things to talk about beforehand. I just want to do a general welcome and especially welcome our new members. We've had a couple join so far in 2024, and we'll have instructions and information about renewing your membership in just a few minutes, but want to say welcome to our new members. And we're going to have a couple of board reports. We're going to start that out, first of all, with Mary Ann with our membership and communications.
Good morning, everybody. So yesterday, if you were a member in 2023, then you should have received an invoice from Alan, our treasurer, for our 2024 membership, our membership dues, fees. We did not raise our rates this year. We're still holding at $149. Of course, we reduced it last year. We have some big goals this year that we felt like that we needed to keep the rates where they are for $149. We have a membership goal this year of 100 members. We got to 92 members last year, so we're very hopeful that we can meet this goal. But we sent invoices out to those who were members last year. I think he's working on the corporate membership invoices to send those out. And then if you're a new member and you're interested in joining, then let us know. We'll be sending out information and links on how to get that membership taken care of. So we are on our way. We have 4 new members already this year, so we're real excited.
Thank you very much. So if you did not see that in your inbox, maybe check your quarantine folders, see where else it might have gone. And if you have any questions, feel free to reach out to Mary Ann or Alan. I see Alan, and he is connecting right now. He's going to give us our treasurer's report. And it's okay if he takes a minute. I tell you what, while Alan is getting settled, Rachel is on, and we want to hear from her to give us a little bit of a preview about our professional conference coming in March.
All right, good morning. Thank you, Catherine. So we are looking at March 15th. It is a Friday for our 2024 annual conference. It is shaping up to be a pretty exciting conference, just as great as last year. So we are looking at kind of a different theme this year, going on building your culture and building you as an HR professional and things that will make you better. So we're really excited about that. So stay tuned. We'll have more information coming. That'll be March 15th again. That is a Friday. The doors will open at 7:30. It'll last till about 3:30 or 4 o'clock in the afternoon.
Excellent. We hope each of you can go ahead and save that date. We had some slides running before the meeting started. The Eventbrite registration will open the first week of February, so it's okay that you haven't seen that yet. It hasn't gone out yet, but just keep your eye out for that registration. All right, Alan, I think we've got you now.
I'm so sorry. Struggle bus on the maximum today. Okay, I've got our treasurer report. If I didn't miss that already, Catherine. Okay, I'm sincerely apologize for that. Let me go ahead. If it's okay, I can share my screen real quick, and I can show you all this. Maybe not, because I think it's disabled. But Mary Ann, are you able to enable that or no? If not, I can just talk through it really quick. Oh, she's muted. Okay, that's fine. So just as a year-end summary for 2023 of where we're at, we had an excellent year. we ended the end of December just a little bit short of where we started the first of the year. That's pretty normal for our chapter because most of our income comes on the front end of the year. And so due to just some timing and some other, bills and things that happen right at the very last minute of the year. But we are at close to a net wash for each year over year. So we did some amazing things last year. We sponsored several people or went through the reimbursement program for several people on the SHRM certification course. And I know we've got some great things planned for this year as well. Our account balance as a whole at the end of the year, we ended at $20,119.46 is what we ended for 2023. So, and then Marianne may have already mentioned this a little bit, but we kicked off our membership drive. I know 14 of you have already paid for your membership yesterday. You guys are on it. So that's fantastic. Be looking out for those invoices coming to your email. And if you have any questions about those invoices or need it broken out differently, please feel free to email me. My email is on all of those invoices, and I'm happy to help with whatever it is you need for that.
Thank you, Alan. And while we've got you, do you want to go ahead and talk about the certification and the prep course? Because there may be some opportunities there that people thought were already passed.
Yes. So the SHRM certification prep course it is approaching very, very quickly, and we are technically, if you go online to try and register for this, the registration period has closed, and we are completely full, kind of. But I've asked the instructor if we could have maybe a couple of extra seats. So if there is anyone that's interested in kickstarting that program, it is a 12-week virtual prep course for the SHRM certification, certified professional or senior certified professional. It is every Wednesday from February 7th to April 24th from 5 to 7 Central our time. And again, it goes through Zoom. But if you have any interest at all in that prep course, please let me know. It does cost $1,200 if you're a national SHRM member, but local SHRM or Four River SHRM will reimburse half of that expense for you. So if you have an interest, I do need to know probably by the end of the week if you have an interest in taking an extra seat on that course.
Thank you very, very much. And this might be a great time just to say congratulations. We've had 2 members that have passed their SHRM certification just recently. So congratulations to Mariah and Julie. We're so excited for you and happy for you, and know that is a great accomplishment. So well done. Well done. All right, we've got a couple other board members that want to speak. Deb, I see you, so I'm going to have you go next. Deb is the chair of our scholarship committee.
Thanks, Catherine. I just wanted to say thank you to the few people that have reached out to me already. We're looking for participants on our scholarship committee. It won't be a lot of difficult long-term commitment, I promise. I just need your review from looks like May 15th through the 31st. So we just need a few people that would be willing to look at through the applicants. And I'm truly excited about our scholarship opportunity that we're stretching for this year to be able to afford some further education for young people in our colleges. So if you're interested in serving on the committee, just email me at deb.domke@payrollvault.com. Thanks so much.
Thank you, Deb. You've done a great job revamping or restarting or re-energizing our scholarship program. So we're excited about that. I don't know if I see Paige. We had a slide before the program that showed a couple of opportunities in the DEI space for your employees, or if you're just personally interested. So take a look at the recording if you didn't get a chance to look at those. All right, now I'm going to pass it along to Melissa to introduce our speaker. We're so excited to have Buddy here with us.
Good morning, everyone. I am going to just introduce our speakers and then I'm going to turn it over. I am so thankful on my own behalf, since I had to organize the speaker for this month, but also on behalf of Fort River SHRM, to introduce Buddy Hoskinson, the Executive Director and Chairman of Kentucky's Unemployment Insurance Commission, and Jamie Hensley, Benefits Branch Manager. They're going to speak to us today on the WorkShare program. So with that, Buddy, Jamie, I'll turn it over to you. Thank you so much again for being here.
Thank you. Thank you all so much. And unfortunately, I figured out that Zoom doesn't like my camera, Team does. So you just get to imagine an older person in a bow tie speaking to you this morning from unemployment insurance. But we'll just take it at that and all the good things that come with it, right? We are starting to get the rain in Frankfurt, so we know that that's coming next. And as you all know, this is our legislative season, so we have a lot of work going on in the UI space. But again, thank you for allowing me to come back. I enjoyed speaking last year. And I have to give a lot, if not the majority of the credit for this presentation to our branch manager, Jamie Hensley. I have such a phenomenal team that every time we have to, as you all did this morning on a couple of things as I was listening, pivot and be a little bit flexible. My team is always flexible and pivoting to the workload and to the needs and the changes of the law. So as you all know, recently we had the law change. So I'll go ahead and let you do a couple the next slide. And then we'll go right to the agenda if that works. Thank you. So we had an opportunity in Kentucky a few years back in a few sessions to add the WorkShare program. The WorkShare program as we get into. So the agenda today is just kind of give you an overview, give you employer advantages, employee advantages, and we'll show you a little bit about the application and the template, and then we'll take some questions. So I think we'll take it from there. We'll go on to the next slide. So what we want to make sure that everybody understands is, you know, about the program in itself. And so it came to be alive for us actually a year ago. You know, it was January 1st, 2023 that we actually stood up the program and started working on how do we work with employers? How do we help employers out? And again, you know, the WorkShare, let's just go through a couple of the basics that are on the screen. Supplement employee wages lost as a reduction of work hours, of partial unemployment benefits, reducing the normal week, in that, you know, one of the guidelines here is at least by 10% or 40% to be qualified for the program. And then again, you have 2 or more employees to participate in the program. And then a subgroup, when we're talking about, just means a group of employees which constitutes at least 10% of the employees in the affected group. It's a basic concept of WorkShare. So let's go on down to the next slide. So let's just talk about what this really means to companies, right? We're in an environment more so now than ever, is that every company who has every good employee that they have, they want to keep that employee. They don't want to lose that employee. They want to make sure that they retain the skill set. Every one of you all know very much how much it costs to skill up an employee and get them ready to do the job. And you know what it takes as far as HR, what benefits you offer in order to keep employees. And it's really become a different market. And so one of the things about this law really is to reduce and eliminate layoffs. We know sometimes layoffs are just a part of seasonal employment from time to time, shifts going down, lines being retooled. If that's something that's going on, and you may have one line up, one line down, and we're trying to figure out how do we help everybody and maybe what are some options. And again, I mean, I mentioned this, it's about the skilled employees in the downturn. It's also about the quick recovery for you as a company and the companies that you work for. It's about time. It's about a savings of hiring and training, all of those things I've already mentioned. And more than anything, it's about an impact, lessening the impact of the reserve account during those slowdowns. It's all of those things combined that makes this program that we believe an advantage for the employer. I will tell you that it is a new, as you know, being just a year old, and I think it takes a little bit for companies to understand, but I do think these are good advantages. Can we go to the next slide? So I want to talk about what happens for the employee that you have. They keep a job. They know there's some security there. There are benefits. Even though there's reduced hours, there is a pathway for them to be able to still avoid those financial hardships, right? And that's what we want to do. And that should be a 0 as in an O, not in a 0 as in a number on loss. Reduce stress. I think more than ever, especially coming out of the pandemic, there is an uncertainty about our world when it comes to our economy. There's uncertainty about the workplace. And more than ever, mental health in the workplace is very important, and trying to give everybody that balance of having some security. Avoid the time job searches, right? And then bi-weekly work share benefits. Those are all things that are very much important. Next slide, please. So I'm gonna stop from me speaking as an executive director, because I get to do all the pretties. And the people who actually get to do all the work to make things happen, when we come together strategically to plan, it would be this very next person. Jamie, I can't speak enough good things about Jamie and her always trying to work and her great team. So Jamie, do you want to take it and talk about the WorkShare program application?
Yes, and thank you, Buddy. So for those employers wishing to participate in Kentucky's WorkShare program, they would go to our website and click our link, which would take them to our application, which you see a short snippet there of. So they would click new if it's a new application, or amendment, or if they're an existing employer who's had a WorkShare plan and they want to make a change to it, they'll submit an amendment. And then in the top right left corner there, there's the template for them to download, and that's where they will put all the affected employees' information on for us to run the WorkShare file. On the application, there's a total of 11 questions for them to fill out and complete for us to review to see if we can approve the application. Typically, the approval process, we usually get them approved within a week's time, even though the agency allows us up to 30 days to approve or deny an application. But at this time, we're staying on top of it, so we get them reviewed and in process pretty quickly.
Jamie, can I ask you a question?
Yes.
So when someone in the company side goes to our kcc.ky.gov website, and I'm sure just like you all, we all have our websites memorized and we have all those acronyms in our mind. And I always jokingly say, when I'm in a nursing home at some point and babbling out a bunch of things in the corner, I really hope my wife and those nurses say all of those acronyms meant something at some point, and then they can roll me back in that corner. But if you go to the kcc.ky.gov website and you go under employment services, the company would go under the employer section to find the information about that. Is that correct, Jamie?
Absolutely, yes. They would go to, like you said, the kcc.ky.gov. They would click unemployment services, and in the drop-down box, if you're an employer, and that takes you straight to the page where it talks about the WorkShare program and the link to click to access the application and stuff.
Thanks, Jamie.
You're welcome.
All right, and I know we're going to delve into this a little bit more, so we can go to the next slide for Jamie.
And this is the employee template that they download from the application. This is where the employer will provide the benefit week that they're applying to the to begin the WorkShare program. That we have to have the claimant's information, their contract start date, and then also, which not included in this picture here, the work share information. We have to know their normal hours that they work, the reduced hours, and the percent reduction to make sure that it falls between the 10 and 40%, per our law to be eligible for the work share plan. But if this isn't provided, or if this is not complete, then we would have to actually deny the application due to incomplete information. And I will say, when we first launched this, a lot of employers did forget to fill out the work share information portion of the template. So we started contacting employers as soon as we get their application and talk to them and explain the program and kind of educate them a little bit. And that seemed to really help with us getting incomplete application or incomplete templates. So that's been an ongoing thing now. So we like to reach out to each employer that's providing an application for the work share plan. We've learned that educating them is the best way to make it run smoothly for them, their employees, and the agency.
So Jamie, what I want to reiterate is what I hear you saying is, just because you click on that link and you start the process, if you feel at all intimidated at any stage of this process, you can reach out, but even knowing what you submit, we're probably going to reach right back out to you to go through some things to make sure we can validate.
Absolutely, yes.
All
Yeah.
right, I think we can go to the next slide.
So, and this is kind of goes back over, the employer applies for the program. They'll go to our website, they'll click the link, complete the application, complete the Excel employee template with all the identifying information. Of course, their company name, address, phone number, all the affected employees, and they will submit that, and it will come to our Kentucky Work Share inbox. And once we receive the application in the inbox, that's when we review it, and then we'll reach out to the employer.
All right, we can go to the next slide.
Okay, and this program does not subsidize seasonal employers in the off seasons. I did have one employer call and question that, and we had a conversation, and he understood. But yeah, it's not to subsidize those seasonal employers in the off seasons. And it's only payable to employees who qualify for and who participate in the approved plan. Workers can elect not to participate, but qualified employees will receive both wages and unemployment benefits from the work share. They'll receive the percent of reduction each week. They still have to report their hours. They still have to report their gross pay. So we have that information, but they will always receive that percentage of reduction. And approved plan is recognized for a 12-month period. So once it's approved for 12 months, unless they submit an amendment to that application.
And Jamie, can we go back up to that third bullet point? That I know if the company applies and they have an approved program,
Mhm.
and it's still the employee's right to say yes or no, I want to participate, right?
Yes, yes.
And so, I mean, again, we're still talking about eligibility for UI benefits. We're still talking about all of those things that we still have requirements for. But ultimately, at the end of the day, company is one part, and then it's the employee part as well.
Right, yes. The employees, once the company submits a work share plan and we submit that file, the employees are sent a letter informing them that their employer has filed a work share plan, a work share claim on their behalf, and tells them what they need to do if they wish to participate. Then they need to complete the ID me verification, and then they're required to complete their biweekly requests. If they choose not to do either one of those things, then they would not receive the benefits.
Thanks, Jamie. I think we can go to the next slide. And I do want to hit on something that Jamie said in the previous slide too, the ID me. And we've talked about this before. So if you have companies that are considering this plan, remember that the employees, we can right now get new employees registered through ID me. So you don't have to wait until an event to register through ID me. You can go through kcc.ky.gov. Right there in front of you, you see the Unemployment Services tab over to the left-hand side underneath of our logo. You click down there, you would see the ID me, and you can go straight to ID me and do that verification. Because I will tell you, many times, if we can get them through ID me, that's the biggest part. And ID me is not a difficult process to go through if we have the proper documentation. So anytime a company believes or knows about some type of layoffs, let's get those employees registered through ID me so we can service them better, effectively, and more efficient. So again, that website you have right in front of you. The tab Unemployment Services is where you would tab down to the WorkShare program. You would go down, I think it's the 4th sub tab that says Employer Services. And then I think the ID me is like the 8th sub tab down. But you go to the Employer sub tab and that would give you all the information on the WorkShare program. All right, we go to the next slide.
And I will say that when we reach out to these employers, we do go ahead and let them know that their employees will need to complete the ID me verification process, so they can kind of give them a heads up so they can go ahead and get that taken care of as well.
Betty,
Go ahead.
Betty, if I can interject something real quick, this is Mary Ann again with the West Kentucky Workforce Board. If they will work with us locally, we can go out and help them through that process. We've become experts in ID me and helping people get through that process quicker.
Marianne, I love that. I'm an ID me technician as well. And so I love that. I actually find it a good little kind of keep my mind fresh, not because I'm old, just because I don't get to use it that often. But thank you so much. And, you know, one of the things we have in local areas and career centers, we do have kiosks that can help them with those ID me's. And we can also send more additional kiosks from the central office down to an area if there's an upcoming event. And Marianne, thank you again for interjecting that, because that makes a huge difference when assisting somebody. The kiosk is so user-friendly, and the technicians and the experts like Marianne, they know how to get through that. I did want to just say in terms of really this program working, because it's new. If you all remember, some of you, maybe others don't, but several administrations ago, I'm going to go back 3 administrations, we introduced SIDES, the electronic program. And SIDES was all about getting employers on board for electronic services. This is no different. It's just a new program, just trying to stand it up, get people educated on the program, and then asking the questions. It may or may not be a good fit for a company, but if it is a good fit, yes, we want to go down that, and we want to service and give that company another tool in their toolbox that is beneficial for not only for themselves, but also for those great employees that they have. Any questions from anybody? And I do have one other brief topic that I'd like to talk about if there's no other questions about this topic.
Well, I am just curious, Buddy and Jamie, this is a year old. So I guess what was your anticipated usage rate? And was that, how did it go that first year? Did you get more or less, more questions than participation?
A lot more questions, and a lot of companies trying to make sure it's a good fit. I think Jamie would see. I think as we've gotten through the second half of that first year, more companies are a little bit more familiar or getting more comfortable. It's new, right? It's a change in going through the process. And again, it's not a savior of all things. So we have to work within the parameters of the law and into what it's able to offer. And we also receive some federal dollars to promote it. So hopefully soon you will see some extra promotion that we can give out to you all locally that you can push out. But it's more like anything else. It's another resource, it's another tool. And I think in time, it will build itself up to be very successful in the Kentucky, because we just want to offer the availability, especially when we're in tight markets.
I can share a couple of examples that we've had here in the region, specifically in our automotive parts manufacturing. When we had the UAW strike back in the fall, that affected some of our manufacturing facilities, and they used this program because the thing is, very few of our specific manufacturings only are dedicated to one product line. So they were able to maintain their plants and keep them open, but the ability to reduce those hours meant that they were able to avoid laying off their talent. So it's a great program from our perspective.
And that was happening at the season of the time where we were coming out of the summer into the fall and before the holidays, right? So look what that employer, those employers were able to do by giving some assurance, through that process. And that's a very valid statement, because there's always a seasons and there's always events. And here's what we always know. We always know that most of those people working for the employers need their paychecks. I need mine, right? And they need that, knowing that their company somewhat is trying to really help them. And we all don't know what we personally bring to the table every day to our offices or to our companies. And so I think that reassurance is a good thing. Any other questions about this particular topic? So if it's okay, and briefly I'd like to just talk about the return to work date, which always seems to be a hot topic underneath recent law changes, as well, as most of you all know. So currently, somebody applying for benefits is eligible up to 16 weeks of benefits, determining where we stand in our grid as far as our downturn in the economy and where we are in our seasonal adjusted rate. 16 weeks is where we are right now. So if somebody comes in and files a claim, that's the maximum that they can receive. Currently, right now, with Kentucky claims, we're seeing about a 14-week exhaustion rate. Had we been at where we were at this time last year, when I think I spoke to you all, if you all remember, that was 12 weeks at that time, before the legislatures went back in and updated their grid, basically. And so the reason I bring that up to you is it's important when working with companies is to understand that we're trying to stay within the compliance of what the law was. Do I believe that there are still some adjustments in the law around the return to work date? I do. And great example of the strike with the unions, because this is another one of those areas that we don't have flexibility in. If someone does not have a return to work date, here's what's going to happen. They're going to have to do those work searches. That's a requirement by the law. And I know that gives great angst and anxiety to the companies, because they are trying to maintain that. If a company gives us a return to work date and it just says, we plan on return to work within the 16 weeks on said date, I'm going to use March 1st, right? March 1st, something happens and it doesn't occur that way. It's up to the company to just re-notify us to let us know that something else has happened, right? What we're trying to do is, I'm not trying to teach anybody the test. I'm just trying to give you the explanation to the law. With a date, they say as a particular class within our system. That class has them going back to work. That classification has them then not having to do the work search. If there's no return to work date because the company is unsure, the company just needs to understand that we can't make up one, and we can't say, I believe or I think, right? And again, it all comes down to terminology or what is used. We know companies are trying to be in good faith. I'm just trying to give you some information so that we all are in compliance with what we have to do and what we have to serve. If we get letters that we think we might, that's really not a return to work date, right? again, if you had a March 1st return to work date and something changes, I'm not really coming out looking for you other than what is the new update. Does that make sense? And the reason I say that is we all are trying to do the right thing. I'm hoping that legislatures will go back in and do some modifications that give us some more leeway, because I understand what some companies are doing by trying to not have their employees have to do the search. But I also want to make sure that we don't get companies in trouble and possibly be fined. And I definitely want to make sure that we stay in compliance with our state and federal laws as a administrator of a program. Any questions on that, perhaps? And I promise you, I'm not at an undisclosed location in a bunker. I am really sitting in my office with glass windows behind me. Several people have come in and validated that I am here, so they know. And I am in a bow tie and a suit, so you know.
Well, buddy, we really appreciate you joining us. Jamie, your expertise as well. And for our group, it's great to have to know these people, to virtually see them or not see them in Buddy's case, but to hear from them. So you know who the people are that are doing this work and that you can contact, that you've heard straight from them on what the program is, what it can and can't do, what the limitations are, how wide open it is. But they are here to support our employees. So thank you very much for the information about all the programs that your office is doing. It's a lot, and we appreciate how you're supporting Kentucky workers.
Well, thank you. And I will tell you that we are still traveling down the road to get a new system and the new interfaces, but the system we have, we've made a lot of great advancements and updates to it. And, you know, we keep trying to make sure that, and we do make sure that we update the website. And, you know, for all the good things, we strategically go away for a day every quarter and talk about the wins, the losses, and where we need to be so that we can help all of you all. And if there are things about the law that you don't like, then you know that it's your local legislatures who need to make those changes.
And what a great strategic model, just to say, hey, quarterly we get away and we talk about it. What did we do well? What did we not do well?
We do. We really try to look at where our strengths and weaknesses are. Every branch does a SWOT analysis. They probably don't enjoy me saying that, but we try to look at our gaps and connectivity. We continually look at customer service. You're our customer. Our customer claimants are our customers. You know, we have three customers. We have the employer, those seeking those benefits, and the Commonwealth. You know, and our goal is to service all of those and keep the risk low. And we know that the past few years with the pandemic, we offered a lot of programs that traditionally on the federal level, they would never have come our way. But in many, many, many respects, we are all grateful that people had access to those. And then in many, many, many aspects, it's been a lot of extra undue work that states are still cleaning up. But you know what? We're still there being able to do it and glad to do it.
Exactly. Buddy, I will put you on the spot for just a little bit, just for a question.
It's a red bow tie in case you were curious. Yeah.
Well, I'm just wondering what's on your radar for this legislative session?
Well, we do see them looking at the job searches and asking some questions because, you know, the 5 job searches, we were already doing 1 per benefit week. The 5 job searches is where we're seeing a lot of the opportunities for claimants, not completing them or not completing them there are specific requirements to that, and or not keeping the required documentation. And so probably 80% of what's in what we call fact finding or adjudication has to do with work search opportunities. We do think there's some modification that could be there. I don't think it's around education. I just think it's about what is the opportunity. If you're in Eastern Kentucky, less opportunity. And you know, I'll say to good folks in Western Kentucky, right? You all know that when you had the tornadoes and you had the damage in December of 21, right? And then we turn around and had the floods in Eastern Kentucky in August of 22, while they were both catastrophic events, and nobody can disclaim those because of where they were geographically. Totally 2 different types of ways with that. The infrastructure in Western Kentucky was much better, much greater, and many more options. to those folks in Eastern Kentucky. So same is no different with work search. We have to be able, we want people to be honest. We'll catch the fraudsters, and that's the other piece, I think, in legislation. Never before, while we always had fraud in the program to some degree, obviously, as you all know, fraud ran amok during the pandemic, and it continues to try to rear its head through the federal level, and states are spending so much more time in that arena as well. That'd be the reason for ID.me right off the bat being in the front versus in the middle. We know ID.me keeps our risk down to 2%. So those two items are probably the two top things that that legislatures are looking at. I would love to see them come to some compromise on the work search and the requirements, because in all good legislation, they create another report that we have to do, and it's just extra work. What we need to do is service the people when they need it. That's what our goals are. 100%, we want to stay in compliance and do all the right things. And I think the majority of the folks who need our benefits truly need our benefits. We don't legislate off of pandemic moments or catastrophic events, right? That's not what we do, but unfortunately, and that's why you see them going back in and looking at possibly cleaning up.
Thank you so much. I'm going to open it up for anybody else, anyone else who has questions for Jamie or Buddy before we move on to the last part of our meeting. All right. Melissa, thank you so much for getting this together. We appreciate you coordinating with Buddy and getting him on here. This has been very helpful and very informative.
Again, Buddy, Jamie, thank you again for agreeing to do this today. We appreciate it.
Thank you all. And anytime we can try to assist in any way, just reach out, okay?
Great. Thank you so much.
All right. You all continue to have blessed days.
Thank you. Thank you.
Bye.
All right, guys, I've just got a couple of announcements. Wanted to go ahead and remind you that our next meeting is going to be February 27th. And just a couple of deadlines as you think about the world of SHRM. The Kentucky SHRM conference, which is in August, does have an early bird pricing. That ends at the end of February. So if you are lobbying for attendance at that, it's always very informative. It's always very educational. You get a lot of your certification credits during that conference. So that might be something that you want to put on your radar. I want to take just a minute and introduce Ashley Burns. Ashley Burns is the new director for Workforce Solutions at WKCTC. Several of our members have utilized that in the past. We want to give Ashley just a minute to just share with us about her new role there.
Hi, thank you. Good morning, everyone. I just wanted to take a minute to introduce myself. I've been in this role since the beginning of this year, so I'm just learning and getting to know everyone. So I just wanted to invite you, if you have worked with me in the past, thought about working with us in the future, or just kind of wanting to know how we could work together, I definitely invite you to reach out to me. I'd love to get to know you and see what we can do together in the future. In the chat, I'll put my contact information. So like I said, feel free to reach out, and I'm very much looking forward to getting to know each and every one of you and working with you. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Ashley. We appreciate you joining us and being here with us today. I have added the SHRM credit code, and I put HRCI credit code in the chat. So make sure you make note of that. The only other announcement that I had is, don't forget, if you are interested in serving with Four Rivers SHRM, contact Deb Domke at the contact information that was shared earlier. If you want to join the scholarship committee and review some of those applications and help her in that endeavor. If you didn't notice, if you got here a little late, just wanted to tell you we did have some announcements scrolling before the meeting. You will get a link to the recording. Marianne will send that out. So if you wanted to look through those, and for future meetings, if you have any announcements that you would like to share, if you have job openings, if there's something going on in your community that you think you want to get the word out, feel free to send those to myself or Marianne, and we'll make sure we get those on a slide for our future meetings. All right, I'm just going to open it up. Any other announcements?
The PowerPoint will be, along with the recording, will be in Friday's newsletter.
Perfect. Excellent. All right, then. I'm gonna
So
say,
sorry.
no,
Sorry.
that's okay,
That's
Alan.
that's what I do at the very last possible nanosecond. Just be on the lookout for your membership invoices. I know I mentioned they started going out yesterday. If you are a single member, then those all went out yesterday. If you are a bulk member, meaning more than one person in your company is a member of Four Rivers SHRM, those invoices will be going out this week. Be thinking if you have anyone else from your company that might be interested in being a member. If I send that invoice out and you think, oh, I have another person, then just email me back and let me know, and I can get all that changed up. If you need your invoice sent a different way, however you need it, please just let us know. We're more than happy to accommodate and make it as easy as possible.
That's exactly. We want to make it easy for y'all to be members. All right, great. Well, thank y'all so much. Happy Tuesday morning, and be on the lookout for the newsletter coming on Friday. We appreciate what you do for your organizations and for your communities, and hope you have a great rest of your week.